which is a dynamic type system, dynamic hosting, dynamic method dispatch, a hosting API, which allows C# and other static languages to basically interact with dynamic languages like Python. Then we looked at how these are used in like a console application or a hello world kind of an application. We looked at how, what are the typical features of a next generation rich UI application, which needs to deal with a large amount of real-time live data, in which users have to do a lot of analysis and ad hoc computations. And then we finally looked at how the power of DLR can be harnessed to create like a macro language or a domain-specific language within such a UI based application to allow the user to do all their ad hoc computations right there within the application. So now I will open the forum for questions. I'll be happy to answer anything. You can read out the questions.
How do I get Python engine?
The question says, how do I get Python engine? I think this was, so Python engine is provided by the hosting API. When I include the Iron Python library within our, so the question here is, how do I get Python engine? Just because I believe users are not able to see the questions that I'm seeing here. The question is, how do I get a reference to a Python engine? So I add reference to Iron Python within my project, and then I add a reference to Microsoft.scripting. So from ironpython.hosting.python engine, I just call create engine. That gives me a reference to the Python engine. I hope that was the question. What's next? Okay. Do we have a moderator here? Are there any questions? We're still waiting for questions. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in here. I'll give it 2 more minutes. If you don't have any more questions, we'll wrap it up here. Okay, I think we're good here. There don't need to be any more questions. So thanks a lot for attending this. Hope you found this useful. Feel free to write to the TechGig people on the web page. You can continue to write your comments or ask me any further questions that you have, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Thanks. Thanks a lot. म्यूट कर सकते हो? Okay. Um, okay. I hope you can hear me now. So the question is there any way of
Yes, actually there are few more
finding out
questions.
if
There's few more questions I'm sharing with you. Can you please take them?
yeah, I'm answering those questions. So I thought there were no more questions that were coming up, so I was about to hang up, but there are some more questions that are trickling in. So the question here is, can we do binding without really using a converter? Can we bind to the grid without using a converter? We can. This is the way I could think of right now. I'll be happy to review any other way that allows me to, one potential way could be that I create some kind of a dictionary within my view model or within my order object, which is keyed by the new variable name. There could be some way potentially. This is one way that I could think of. You could create that dictionary and then populate that with the values from the Python engine, and then bind to that dictionary instead of directly binding to the attribute that we had just created. Again, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. What is the main aim of DLR? So the main aim of DLR is to provide a CLR compliant version of a dynamic language, so to say. So what you get is, on top of the CLR, you get certain other services that allow you to write code to write managed code within a dynamic language. That essentially is what you get with DLR. Again, I mean, this is more of a philosophical question. There are different people who come up with different definitions, but that is one definition that you can take to begin with. Sure, I can find out from the TechGig people if I can host this this application on their website. Otherwise, if you Google around for integration scenarios where a DLR is being integrated with Silverlight or WPF, you will find a lot of samples out there. But I will find out if this application can also be hosted within TechGig along with this presentation. How to integrate DLR in WPF? We just saw that. So the way we did here with Silverlight is how you would do that with WPF. I'm sure the set of libraries that you would need to use, the hosting APIs would be different for WPF, but that is exactly how you will use it there as well. The way we did here. Ruby, and so the question is any other language injection possible? You can do what we just did with Python. You can also do it in Ruby, which is a DLR equivalent of the Ruby language. Those are the two I'm aware of. There may be others out there that I have not looked at. Okay, so there's one more question coming in.
Any other language injection possible other than Iron, Ruby, and Python?
The same question being asked again, is there any other language injection possible other than Iron, Ruby, and Iron Python? There may be, but I am not aware of it. There may be engines, so it is a question of whether a hosting API and an engine has been written for it. I'm not aware if there are, but you could just look for it on the web.
Okay, I think most of the questions are answered now. I will request all the audience to post their questions if they have any on techgig.com, and we will answer those questions offline.
Yeah, I will be happy to answer them when they're posted on the webinar page.
Okay, so we can conclude the session now.
All right, thanks a lot for attending this. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Webinar. Session. And the recording of this webinar would be made available on techgig.com by tomorrow. I would also like to thank all the participants who attended this webinar. Thank you all.